I am a woman in my 40s who has worked hard to get to where I am today. I've burned the candle at both ends, so to speak, as I put myself through all levels of education, gone to therapy, and read more self help books than you can count in order to have a meaningful career, get to know myself better, and heal. Now in my 40s, I've built up some confidence, healed some old wounds, and established myself in a career in academia. But I've had to take a break in order to heal from chronic illness and burnout. In my time off, I've let myself honestly reflect on how I've felt trapped, exhausted, and have been questioning my purpose. I've also focused on the fact that I'm in midlife now, and I do not want to spend the second half of my life in the survival mode of the first. It's time for big change. Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm an academic, midlife coach, a mom of a grown-up human, and now a podcaster who is about to leave my career in order to create a life that is more aligned with my current values, priorities, dreams, and desires. I want to take you on this journey with me. We're usually the audience of someone's reinvention story after they've left the job and succeeded at something else, after they've divorced their husband and found new and fulfilling love and partnership, after they've self-actualized and healed. I'm going to take you through what will probably be the messy path that will get me to my end goals in the hopes that it helps you with yours in some small way. I hope you'll join me as all of this unfolds and let me be an example of what's possible. I don't know how this will end, but I have experience with life's plot twists. And because of my track record, I now have some confidence and trust in myself that wherever this leads me, I'll be okay. Welcome to episode 1. It's my intention, at least as of right now, to have the midlife plot twist be for the woman who has worked so hard to get to where she is today, but now she wants to pivot in some way, and in a big way. As this is the first episode, I'm going to take some time to introduce myself and tell you some of the story that has led me here. As I said in the introduction, my name is Jennifer. I'm in my 40s, and I'm in menopause, actually, if you can believe that, after having undergone a hysterectomy last year. And I'm familiar with the difficult changes associated with perimenopause well. The hot flashes, the unbelievable sweating, the brain fog, and just not feeling like yourself. This has an impact on our choices and how we are moving through the world and our decisions these days. So I don't take that lightly. We never learned anything about perimenopause when we were watching Elizabeth Gilbert eat, pray, and love her way around the world to self-discovery, did we? Is that movie reference too old? Probably, but I'm going to run with it. So I was 33 years old when the movie Eat, Pray, Love arrived in theaters. The main character, Elizabeth, was 34 at the start of her big journey. In addition to being of similar age, some aspects of that movie resonated with me at the time. The main character was being brave, breaking free, going against the norm, and redefining herself. It was very exciting and very inspiring to me at the time. I had never seen or read anything like that. I realized after watching the movie that I also had experiences with these things, although my life circumstances were very different. I was a single mom of a 13-year-old daughter. I didn't have a cushy career. I think in the movie she was a lawyer, and decided to leave the working world in order to put myself through university and change my life's trajectory. I went on to graduate school where I learned that maybe I wanted to become a university professor, and I managed to do that. I fulfilled my dream of becoming a university professor. And that's where I am today. But now, 15 years later, it's time for big life change again. I should I should say there are still things that I love about academia, but I recently realized that the things I love about it are mostly romantic ideas that I've held on to in my mind rather than the reality of it. Honestly, it feels like being in an unhealthy relationship where you hold on to the fantasy of the person so that you don't have to face the fearful decision to leave them. In reality, though, despite the good qualities they do or might have, it's a bad fit. It is negatively affecting your life and your health, and it's time to go. Have you had the experience of staying in a job or a relationship beyond its expiry date only to have the universe hit you over the head with a 2x4, forcing you to get out? That's kind of what happened to me. I feel some shame and some fear to say that I've been off work for 2 years now on sick leave. As an aside, I think I'll probably create an episode on the garbage messages we hold in our head about productivity, which hold us back. So, in September of 2023, I caught COVID. I recovered from that, and then at the end of October, I caught it again, and whammo, I could not function anymore. I was also teetering on the edge of burnout before catching COVID. This is relevant to where I am at this point because one of the hardest things I've had to do over the past 2 years is learn how to take care of myself first, how to rest and pace myself. My life had to slow way down. It was and still is difficult, but my recovery depended on it. Today, I am happy to say that I am doing much better than before. I'm not yet well enough to be back to teaching, for example, but I have been making slow and steady improvements. I've been working with a psychotherapist as well, which has helped me process what's going on and to find the baseline of my new normal because the chronic conditions that I'm left with have changed me, and there's some acceptance that I need to develop and grief associated with this. I remember when I first started talking with my therapist about this, I had the feeling inside that I didn't think I would be able to return to teaching because of my new limitations. That thought filled me with dread. Not just fear, dread. But in the space that I created in my life and in myself while learning to put myself first, to rest, and to pace myself, I started recognizing that not only did I think I might not be able to return because of my new limitations, I also had this small but growing feeling inside that I didn't want to return to teaching. I didn't want to. At first, about a year ago, I wasn't able to voice this or even allow it to exist in my mind. As soon as it would pop into my mind, I would shove it away by distracting myself. It was too terrifying a thought. As time passed over this past year, though, I've come to accept this fact and allow myself to explore it. I started to talk about it in therapy. I started to talk about it with coaches. The one place that I have not started to talk about it yet is with my employer, which is why I am only associating this podcast with my first name for now. I've shifted so much internally over the past 2 years, and it's because of the terrifying decision I made initially to take time off work. I've learned that not only do you need to take time off work to heal physically and mentally from burnout, you need that time away from the day-to-day of the job to disentangle yourself from it enough to allow you to consider alternatives that would be more sustainable and fulfilling for you. Quite frankly, I needed I had this desire for a sense of permission. I wanted someone to give me permission to take time off work. My partner did that almost in a sense. My therapist also said, if you need permission, here's your permission to go. And it actually helped me. So I'm going to say that to you now. You have permission to stop. And no matter what roadblocks fear puts in front of your way, you can find a way to stop. Your health depends on it. In 2023, while still working, I trained to become a certified trauma-informed coach. At the time, I thought the trauma-informed part would help me with my research, actually. The coaching part was just a bonus. This was the first seed I planted that sprouted and bloomed a new path of possibilities for me. I love coaching. Taking time off work was another seed planted that contributed to that new garden. So I ask you, what seeds have you planted already? Has your intuition opened up possible new gardens for your career, your love life, or your relationship with yourself without you being fully aware of what was going on? It can be tricky like that. I also planted 2 more seeds this past year. I started writing a memoir, and I applied to a part-time online master's degree in social work so that I could offer women therapy as well as coaching down the road once I finish my training. So planting these seeds over the past year coincided with the big life phase change I went through with surgical menopause, the realization that I have reached midlife, as well as the loss of both of my parents in 2021. Losing both of my parents put me in the strange position of being the eldest generation in my family line. At 43 years old, I became an elder in my family, and it was disorienting. All of this coming together over the past 4 or 5 years equals a sense of urgency now to make some hard decisions for the betterment and protection of my health and well-being in this later part of my life. My intuition told me in no uncertain terms, now is the time. So this is where I am. I'll find out if I got accepted into the master's program within the next month, and I'm still working on my physical recovery day by day. And I think if all goes well, I will be speaking with my employer before the 1st of December to start. I just realized that saying that puts a timestamp on this podcast episode, and now you know that it's going to be November soon. Anyway, this is not supposed to be a perfect podcast, so there we go. Where was I? So, yeah, I think I'm going to speak with my employer before the 1st of December to start the process of my resignation. Oh my God. Ooh, that was terrible to say that. It wasn't terrible to say that. It felt terrible and terrifying to say that. I'll just tell you that I have little doubting voices in my mind pop up the second I say that I will be resigning by December 1st. Those doubting voices pop up with messages like, but what if you stay? What if you work something out with your dean? What if you work part-time? What if you don't resign? What if you chicken out? What if something else happens or comes along? As best I can, I'm trying to let those little protective voices have their say while keep moving forward, one action and one step at a time. I think that's where I'll end for this week. We'll see where I'm at in next week's episode. You have 2 ways of reaching me, and I would genuinely love to hear from you. The first is on Instagram. I just created an Instagram account this morning for this podcast. The account name is Midlife Plot Twist Podcast, all one word. Please follow the account and comment. I'll be sure to reply. The second way that you can get in touch is by emailing me at midlifeplottwistpodcast@gmail.com. I genuinely want to hear from you. I want to hear about where you're at, what resonated with you in this episode, what you'd like to know more about, and how you're doing. I will reply to every person who sends a message. I'll drop new episodes weekly on Mondays, so stay tuned for next week's episode. Thanks so much for being here with me and for listening. Until next week, be well.